Welcome to ESPN College Basketball Holiday Hoops presented by Zales from the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman, Oklahoma. It's a Big Ten, Big 12 matchup as the Northwestern Wildcats visit the 17th ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Along with Dan Dockich, I'm Mark Neely. Dan, I like to call it Trey Mania. It continues to grow. True freshman guard for OU, Trey Young, leading the nation in scoring and assists.
Well, he's taking college basketball by storm. And I've said earlier in the year, in an era where everybody wants to be Steph Curry and everybody wants to compare people to Steph Curry, he's the closest I've seen. This kid not only shoots it well, he hits floaters, but he keeps his teammates involved. Sometimes with a little guard, they dribble, and everybody stands. Not with this guy. You saw what he did last time out. He's fantastic.
Even Oklahoma City Thunder's Russell Westbrook has taken notice of Trey Young.
Yeah, he's done an amazing job, man. He's put the work in and put himself in a great position to lead a team. He's leading the country, probably scoring and assists. It's amazing to see him doing such great things.
Trey Mania continues to grow, and even more NBA players, including former Sooner Buddy Hield, taking notice.
Hey, I always say players know players. You know, coaches say things, we say things, but players know players. And to be this quick, 10 games into your college career and have all these guys notice it, it's pretty good.
First possession of the game belongs to the Sooners. Young passing underneath for the other freshman, Manick, who was fouled, and right away we see the passing ability of Trey Young.
Well, that was so easy. They just ran Manick off of you don't see it very often, a cross the court up screen, and Trey Young, if you're not going to pressure him, he's going to find people.
There's Trey Young. The bad news for Northwestern tonight is that redshirt junior Vic Law, who's 6'7", 200 pounds, who most likely would have been guarding Trey Young, did not pass concussion protocol, is here, but will not play tonight.
Yeah, and he's a versatile defender. He's not just a guy that has length that could guard a smaller guy. He's a very, very good defender. That hurts big time. Both ends, actually, for Northwestern.
So Jordan Ash getting the start in lieu of Vic Law tonight for the Wildcats. The handoff to Ash. Is this a game, Dan, that Northwestern will try to shorten, really?
Well, you kind of have to, because if you don't, you're going to have to score 90 to 100. You know, that's what Trey Young and this Oklahoma team can do.
Shot clock down to 2. Lindsey shot off the side of the backboard, and out comes Trey Young. Crosses over into the lane, floats it up and in, and fouled.
Hey, how about a little left hand in and out dribble? A lot of guys in college basketball as freshmen fall on their face. Watch this. Watch with the left, little inside out. Whap! And then the floater as contact comes. And look, how do you defend him? You don't defend him like that. You keep him on a side. If you let Trey Young go wherever he wants, he will kill you. You get him on a side, you keep him on a side, you load the defense, and then when he gives it up, you make it incredibly difficult for him to get it back.
So Young,
very easy from sitting right here.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's easier said than done.
Yeah, very easy. Sitting right here in this chair.
So just a minute in, a 5-0 lead for OU with 3 of those points from Trey Young. Along the sideline, stolen by Latin. Numbers for OU. Young gives it up. Laid up and in by Rashard Odoms. Timeout, Northwestern.
Man, I don't blame Chris Collins for being hostile. Ball got on his side. Scotty Lindsey's a veteran player. You just can't let somebody take it from you because you get in transition. It is over.
A very upset Chris Collins addressed his team during that timeout. A lot of issues going on here already for Northwestern.
Well, look, I mean, he's got veteran guys, and you come here, it's not a great crowd tonight. So just don't keep the ball on the side. Keep the ball popping. Keep it on the side. They take it from you. Transition, Trey Young's going to make it easy. I mean, really easy.
First ever meeting in school history between Northwestern and Oklahoma. And Northwestern trying to find their first points, down 7-0. Here's Pardon, pass back out, and a 3 is up and around and in for Jordan Ash.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You know, you take it inside, and you've got to be able to hit that shot or shot fake it and get in the lane. Like right now, I wouldn't let Young get the ball. You got to get on top of him and make it uncomfortable, at least a little bit.
Ash trying to stay close with Young.
Still pretty good. That would not bother you as a coach. Here's what happened. You made Trey Young catch the ball about 10 feet out farther than he wanted to, and then you bodied him up just to let him know we're not going to let you just stand around here and do what you want. I'd deny him here.
Deep three. Wow.
Too easy. Like, look, that's unbelievable, right? But you know that going in, so don't let him get the ball. That's pretty good.
Very quick 6 points in this game for Trae Young. They're out to a 10-3 lead, and a three comes again from Ash. He had only made 3 threes on the season coming in. He's hit his first 2 of the night.
Yeah, he has not been he does not have a reputation as a shooter, more of a defender.
Young kind of lost his dribble, but was still able to find Odoms, who misses the kiss in. There's Bryant McIntosh, impressive point guard for Northwestern, feeding inside Parton. He's able to stuff it, and Northwestern starting to find some offensive flow here.
Yeah, and Derek Parton is one of the most improved players in the country. He was going to redshirt as a freshman. The starting center got hurt, and now Ola was his name, and next thing you know, Parton started playing. First game out at double-digit rebounds, and he's kind of taken off. He hit the biggest shot in Northwestern history last year against Michigan.
There's James with a three that's around and in. It hit the far side of the rim, bounced off the backboard and through for Christian James.
And that rim is a glove. That rim dipped about 1.5 inches. It's either broken or they tightened it for the second half.
It was a friendly bounce is what you're saying. There's another three, but that's short off the front rim. The run out from Odoms, and he finds James, who launches.
Let's be honest, this isn't just Trae Young. James is a really good player. Manick has come on like gangbusters over his last 3, and you got Latin in there blocking shots.
Another three from Ash, who cannot make it a third made three, and it stays an 8-point lead for OU. Sooners scored the game's first 7 points. The lead was cut down to 2, but Young trying to dish underneath, and it's lost out of bounds to the Wildcats.
Still a sweet move. It's still a sweet move. He went inside out left. I thought he might stop, pull up, but he was going 725 miles an hour, kind of stuff to top to pull up. But that was, kids out there, you want to know how to become a guy like that, get your left hand going, because he's fantastic going left.
Gavin Skelly now in the game for Northwestern. McIntosh has Trae Young right in his face. Here's Parton. Spins around Jamoni McNeese, but can't finish the lay-in. Young.
Everybody on the front row just laughs. There's kids there just laughing because 2 guys were there. One of them was 6'9" in Parton.
McIntosh off the right side. James with a tip-it, and Manick comes out with it to Young. Young runs past McIntosh, ran into a defender, kicked it to the corner, and a McGusty three goes in. Give that assist to Trae Young. That's his 3rd assist already, and of course coming off the 22 assists here the other night against Northwestern State to tie the NCAA record. That's put in with the left hand from Parton.
Yeah, Parton got great position that time, and if you let him go to his right shoulder with no help, he's going to kill you. It's almost like you want Northwestern to just do whatever they want to do so we can watch him with the ball.
I don't know what to say, Dan, and there really isn't anything to say, is there? It just makes it look so simple.
I'm telling you, it's the closest thing you'll ever see to Steph Curry. It really is. He doesn't just dominate and dribble around and wear you out. Look at this. He's pretty good.
Parton playing well down low for Northwestern.
You're going to have to make a decision on him whether you want to double him or front him, because right now he's going wherever he wants to go.
Oklahoma's hit their last 5 3-point attempts. So McNeese says, let me go for the high percentage shot and just stuff it in.
Do you know how good that was? That was a double team. He was on a direct line from us, and he found his teammate McNeese out of nowhere and flipped a perfect pass over 3 different guys.
McIntosh. There's a McNeese rebound. He finds Young. Young already with 12 points. He's at 3 threes, 4 assists. Will this be his 5th? The foul committed by Scotty Lindsey. Trey Mania on full display already.
File this under, tell Noah about the flood. Trae Young is pretty good in a lot of different ways. Don't leave us. Too much fun.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball, and Land Rover, above and beyond.
Back in Norman, happy holidays from Dan Dockich and Mark Neely. 6.5 minutes in, OU scored 27 points. Trae Young has 12 of those. It's just silly.
When he gets the ball, the whole place just kind of waits. Like, what's going to happen? He's must-see TV. You know, Marvin Bagley III has been fantastic. Don't get me wrong, he's been great. But for pure, what do you call it? Like charisma, dynamic player, he is, you got to watch. He's on the court. Everybody in this building, probably including Northwestern players, are going, oh, what's he going to do?
And you're comparing him to Steph Curry. Steph Curry wasn't this good as a freshman at Davidson. You're talking about Steph Curry modern day.
Yeah, which is really scary. That's a great point. No, you're right. I mean, Steph Curry was obviously really good at Davidson, terrific passer, but man, oh man.
There's the tip in for Park, who's done a nice job around the rim tonight for Northwestern.
Well, he's been all Northwestern has had. He has 8 points, and nobody else has been able to do much of anything. Ash hit a couple of threes, but that's it. Little matchup zone here.
Young fired a pass that went off the arm of Pardon, but it deflected to Freeman, and OU keeps possession. Young saw a crease for a moment, finds McGusty off the back rim, and a rebound for Gavin Skelly.
Yeah, I like the move by Chris Collins. He was getting smoked. I mean, let's face it, he was getting killed. Half-court offense. Trae Young was going wherever he wanted. Went to a little zone just to slow things down a little bit.
Knocked out of the hands of Gaines. James gives it up. McGusty to the rim.
You know what you realize, and this is what happens with great players. Other guys, because of how Trae Young shares the ball, other guys share the ball. Sharing the ball for Oklahoma is what they do, and that's because of Trae Young. Look, when Magic and Bird came in the NBA, a lot of guys remember this, passing became cool. You know, if it wasn't, now it was. Well, with Trae Young, now passing becomes cool.
McIntosh got some contact from Trae Young. He'll pick up the foul on the push. Put Bryant McIntosh at the line, who's now in his senior year. Set the assist record at Northwestern, which was held by Tim Doyle, but Bryant McIntosh.
Well, you and I have worked with Tim Doyle. He doesn't deserve them any records.
I'm just surprised the guy who played the low post like Doyle had that many assists.
Well, McIntosh is the best guard, I believe, in the history of Northwestern. I mean, he is the leader in assists by a bunch. He'll be in the top 10 in scoring. He's 4th right now among all active players in assists, and he'll probably be the biggest winner at Northwestern. So this is a kid that came originally and committed to Indiana State, opened up his recruiting, developed a bond with Chris Collins over the whole Duke thing, and now has been the cornerstone of Chris Collins kind of, you know, turning this program up a little bit.
It was last year the first NCAA tournament trip for Northwestern. And that is a travel. It's going to be Northwestern ball when we come back to the Noble Center in Norman. Well, 'tis the season for bowl games. We've got 3 more for you tomorrow on ESPN at noon Eastern. Texas Tech takes on South Florida in the Birmingham Bowl. Then at 3:30, San Diego State Aztecs squaring off against a great story this year, the Black Knights of Army in the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. And then at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Appalachian State out of the Sun Belt taking on the Toledo Rockets, who are the MAC champions. All 3 games available also on the ESPN app. Trae Young now on the bench for Oklahoma after picking up his first personal as Jordan Shepard checks in at the point guard spot for OU. McIntosh. Skelly puts up a 3. He gets it into the hands of Jordan Shepard. Freeman a three.
Man. Freeman just came in the game, and as easy as you can make it, just drilled it.
First shot of the night for Matt Freeman, the sophomore out of Auckland, New Zealand. Gaines. Skelly jumper that's short, gets his own rebound, tried to reverse it, but there was Freeman, and he came back down with it. And possession arrow will come into play here. It's going to stay with Northwestern.
That was a really good play by Freeman. Freeman turned like he was going down the court, and then one of the few guys on the court that realized Skelly got the ball back and reacted very quickly.
Aaron Benson has checked in for Northwestern, as has Aaron Falzone. See if Northwestern can cut into the deficit with Trae Young on the bench for Oklahoma.
Well, they're hoping Falzone can make a shot or two. The penetration's been there for Northwestern, just haven't been able to knock anything in.
Benson trying to maneuver around, but Freeman is there. Falzone doing just what you said, Dan.
Yeah.
Hits a three.
That's what he's supposed to do, and that's his shot. He likes the top of the key to the side. He was hurt last year, started as a freshman. He's a good player. He's a kid that can make a difference in a game like this where you got to get in the 80s.
Falzone out with the knee injury almost all of last year. This is a McGusty three. Way long.
I feel like everybody falls asleep when Trae Young's not here. This is the quietest gym I've ever been in.
In the lane, Brown makes it a 34-21 game.
How about that by Brown? Brown got in trouble, and when you're going to be a 6-foot guard, you got to be able to make shots around the rim. And he spun that where it stayed on the rim and knocked it in. Not a lot of guys have that kind of touch. That was really a difficult shot.
McGusty, Benson was there to flash it at the last moment to adjust that shot. And a quick three is off the mark and short for McIntosh.
Boy, McIntosh is really struggling. Looks like he doesn't have any legs. Everything he's shooting is short.
Loaded up and in by Shepard.
And Shepard would have been the point guard this year if Trae Young gone somewhere else. He's a kid that can certainly play. He would be a starter a lot of different places. But you know what? He's accepted his role. He's thrived in his role. There's no jealousy with this team.
Freeman on the run out has Shepard with him and Latin trailing, and Freeman taking it.
Good call.
Offensive foul going against Matt Freeman.
Everybody can complain in the building, but that was a really good call. Freeman had the ball. All he had to do was give it up for a layup. You're going to see his left arm extend right there. And all you got to do is extend it a little bit, and referees are taught just call that every single time. It was right in front of the official.
Wasn't blatant. There wasn't a whole lot there, but it was enough for Lamont Simpson, the official, to call that one.
And Simpson was right there. And anytime, I'm telling you this year, whether it's a post or out on the perimeter, anytime you extend your arm, it's going to be called offensively, defensively, doesn't matter.
A point of emphasis this year.
Well, you got to make it. Man.
That time he was a little bit long with it, gets it back, tries again, and that one's off the back rim.
Yeah, you can see he'd been missing them short, so he put a little extra on it.
A little too much.
Yeah.
Young back in the game, doubled, looking to pass out of it.
You got doubled every single time. I don't care who it's from. Make somebody else make a shot.
Trae Young, 12 points tonight. Perfect 4 of 4 from the field. He's hit 3 threes and now misses his first. Manick going after the rebound, but it's taken off the floor by Derek Parton.
Yeah, if you're Northwestern, you got to throw the ball inside.
Spinning, Brown will go to the line.
You just have to throw the ball inside. You can't try to match 3 for 3. Play your zone, slow Oklahoma down a little bit, make somebody other than Young make shots against you, and then throw it inside. Parton's been killing them.
So Isaiah Brown headed to the line, 90% foul shooter. You were talking about him earlier. He was born in Alaska, and moved to the Seattle area. He's the Gatorade High School Player of the Year in the state of Washington. Not a whole lot of guys, though, born in Alaska. Mario Chalmers, Trajan Langdon, a couple of those guys come to mind who do have ties to Brown and his family while they were in Alaska.
Carlos Boozer, a kid from Alaska going back. You know, Chris Collins has, because of being at Duke and recruiting all across the country, he's got a lot of ties to various coaches, AAU coaches, that type of thing. So So no surprise you see guys from different places.
That's flipped up, missed by Young as he fell out of bounds, and a foul going against Oklahoma. It's Northwestern ball.
And that's what you got to do. You got to come to the ball, show your hands, make him shoot flip shots over you. Don't let him get comfortable on the perimeter. And then, again, if you're Northwestern, this ball has to be played through Pardon every single possession. Doesn't mean he's got to score it, but he's got to get it, and he's got to be able to make a move towards the rim and then kick it.
Trae Young hit his first 4 from the field. He's now missed his last 2. OU's lead still 14, but Oklahoma scored, what was it, 25, 27 points in the first 6.5 minutes. The pace has slowed down. Scotty Lindsey, their best 3-point shooter. He's just a little bit strong. An offensive board by Pardon.
Pardon hasn't been on the block yet this possession.
He's still up high. The pass into the lane, intercepted by Shepard. Gives to Young. Here's the lob. And a stop by Christian James.
Point guard to lob.
5th assist in the first half for Trae Young.
You know, when you play with a guy like Trae Young, you sprint. There you go. Now you make a move out of it if you're Northwestern.
And they're going to call him for the travel. When we come back to Norman, we'll visit with the head football coach of the Oklahoma Sooners, Lincoln Riley. I have to ask him about that pass from Trae Young to James. Coming up New Year's Day, we'll have the college football playoff semifinal on ESPN. Number 3 Georgia, number 2 Oklahoma kick off things in the Rose Bowl. 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific from Pasadena. Then it's number 4 Alabama, number 1 Clemson in the All-State Sugar Bowl from the Superdome in New Orleans. And both games streamed live on the ESPN app. Well, the head coach of OU, Lincoln Riley, with us. First time for you to see Trae Young in person. It's good to be Trae Young, but what my partner Dan Dockage said during the break, it's pretty good to be Lincoln Riley these days.
That's fun to watch Trae. He's got a great future, and he certainly brought a lot of energy to our program right now. So fun to watch.
Here's a Bannock 3 and another freshman from OU, 6 the 3 ball to expand the lead. Hey, you've been busy the last few weeks, not only preparing for the national semifinal, but the early signing period, I'm sure, has kept you on your toes.
It has. It has. It was kind of a new change for everybody. And then with also being in the Big 12 championship game, we lost a week of recruiting there. So there's been balancing a lot right now. Early signing day, winning the Big 12, and then trying to get ready here for the Rose Bowl.
Coach, take your fans through what you do with your team right now, because they're going home for Christmas, correct? And when they come back, what do you do?
That's right. Yeah, we went at it pretty good here for the last 10 days. And then we sent him home this morning after practice and got a chance. Jeez. Wow.
You said it best, Coach.
Yeah, he stopped me right there. I could do this job.
Oh, it's all we've been doing is laughing and going, oh, my God.
Hey, you mentioned the fact that your game's in the Rose Bowl. How significant is that, not only for you personally, but for the team to play in that venue?
Everybody's excited about it. It's a bowl that's not obviously tied into our conference. So to get a chance to go play there is very special. Our guys are very excited about it. I know personally I am too. It's one that's always been on the bucket list.
Coach, help people out here. All right, from a coach's perspective, Georgia, what does Georgia do that you're – I call it an Ambien team. They're the kind of team keeps you up at night. You got to take Ambien to sleep,
right?
What do they do best from a coach's view?
Oh man, they just have very few weaknesses as a team. They run the ball well. The young quarterback's playing well for them, and then they're tremendous. They've been one of the best defensive teams in the country consistently throughout the year. So they're just a well-rounded team and very, very talented on all 3 sides of the ball.
When you look at your schedule, because scheduling's different now, right? Ohio State got in last year for having beat you here.
That's right.
They didn't win the title. You get in, and obviously you deserve it for a lot of reasons, but you played Ohio State. You went there and won. How has scheduling changed for you and Oklahoma and, with the Final Four sitting there?
Well, it has changed, and our AD, Joe Castiglione's done a great job of adapting. You got to figure in the Big 12 championship game. And we're the only conference that's going to play the number 1 and number 2 team again. So you're going to play another great team like we did in TCU again, and that's going to be important. But we've always believed in playing, one great non-conference team, and it served us very well this year.
McNeese with the jam, and he's going to go to the line to try to complete the 3-point play. You mentioned the Big 12 championship game, which came back this year. The fact that you won it, I'm probably going to answer your own question here, seemed like it was a positive for the conference, though.
I
think it was. You know, again, it's great that we're the only conference that does that. Everybody else has divisions, and you might get the number 1 versus number 3 or the number 4 team. And we're the only league that's going to consistently have 1 and 2, and I think that's important. We played at a great venue at Cowboy Stadium, and you know, it was another great game this year.
I'm a big fan of Baker Mayfield for a lot of reasons. Like, Urban's a good friend of mine, but you know, you win, you go bury the flag. I think that's all cool in my view. Is that attitude kind of what makes him? Is that what makes him special?
It does. It does. It's very few people have it. He's just got an edge and a competitive fire about him that, you know, even in this game is just really unique. So, yeah, he's tremendous. He's been a catalyst for our team here for the last 3 years, and it's been a joy to coach.
You've been around him. Why? Other than that, has he been able to go from a walk-on to the Heisman Trophy?
I think because even though he's had success and did early in his career here, he's stayed hungry and he's continued to improve. You know, a lot of people, when they're doing well or having success, they tend to take the foot off the gas a little, and this guy has just continued to be coachable, humble, a great teammate, and a great worker.
Shock you that he was the Heisman Trophy winner? Would you have predicted that at the start of the year?
It doesn't shock me. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot of confidence in him, and then the guys that we had around him on this team, I felt like we would have a chance to be pretty good.
Yeah, you are. It's good to be Lincoln Riley, Mark. I mean, you know, a lot of guys have to go win in the MAC and then work their way up. You walk in and here you are, man. I mean, do you ever just look at it and go, man,
yeah,
this is pretty cool?
I know how fortunate I am to, you know, for my first opportunity to be at a place like Oklahoma. I mean, this is the best college program in the country. So to get a chance to do it here is really, really special.
Heisman Trophy's in the house tonight. We just saw that on camera. So nice of Baker to allow us to put our hands on that tonight.
Yeah, bar it for the night.
Skelly looking around. Oklahoma's opened up a 49-26 lead. Chatting with Lincoln Riley, the head football coach of the Sooners, who's taking his team to the college football playoff national semifinal against Georgia.
You know, when you have a player like Baker Mayfield, his basketball is different, but one of the great things about Trae Young is he gets everybody involved, right? Is that incumbent on a quarterback to do the same thing?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be plays that at times you've got to make yourself, but I think keeping guys involved, you know, being that guy that kind of serves as the catalyst for the entire team, having that guy, you just can't replace it. It's been huge for us, and obviously you can see for our basketball team here this year with the way, you know, our team's played here early in the year, you can see, you know, the difference that Trae's made in such a short time.
10 first half points for Pardon for Northwestern. Here's James, and a 3 once again. Christian James hot tonight. That's his 4th three-pointer of the game.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we got to talk about Trae Young, but Manick is pretty good. James is pretty good. Shepard has his role. I mean, you know better than anybody. You got to play your role.
You do, and you've got to have a lot of great players to do. You know, Baker, you know, is a great example. He gets a ton of attention, but, you know, we've got a lot of great players around him on both sides of the ball, and, you know, when you've got a great team like that, it makes it all go.
Coach, thanks for the chat.
Thanks for having me. Absolutely.
Good luck in L.A.
Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks, Kevin, Dal, and Chris. I like the fact, like he just said, that we're running out of superlatives for Trae Young.
Well, Lincoln Riley just said, hey, I can do this. Oh, man, what a shot. Oh, God. You know, it's not that hard. You just sit there and laugh.
McIntosh floating it over Freeman, but it's short.
He just cannot get anything to go.
Here's Odoms taking it to the rim, laying it up and in.
Hey, Odom's really athletic. And again, going back to what we said earlier about Trae Young, when he has the ball, you want to sprint because he will throw you the basketball. He is egoless.
Oklahoma is shooting 70% from the field. They've hit 11 of 16 threes, and they've hit all 8 of their free throws. They haven't missed a lot here in the first half.
Yeah, I like this. They went and put Trae Young on the block, raised everybody up around above the free throw line, isolated him. That does 2 things. Number 1, it puts him in an uncomfortable place defensively. And number 2, if they miss, he's under the bucket. He's not out leading transition.
James has been hot. It's the first 3 that he has missed. He had hit his first 4. And Northwestern with numbers here, taking it all the way to the rim. Gaines now has scored back-to-back trips down the floor for the Cats.
I'm telling you, that's what you want to do. You want to keep Trae Young on one side of the floor. Like right there, they kept him on, and if you watch the defense, everybody was loaded to the ball side. Make him throw a skip pass. Make him do something, but don't let him get comfortable and don't let him in the lane.
Showed the graphic a moment ago. Northwestern's allowed 64 points per game coming in. They may give that up in the first half here as Trae Young.
I don't know how you do that.
20 first half points for Young.
I don't know how you leave him. Like, how do you, like, if you're going to leave anybody in this building, you know.
He's not the guy.
No, he's not the guy.
Parton's had a pretty nice first half, though, for Northwestern, but his pass anticipated by Young, and then Lindsey comes from behind and commits the foul.
You said Parton has had a nice half. He threw it away. Earlier, I said, get the ball to Parton, and he traveled.
Yeah,
we're Costanza opposite day here going on.
Parton is 5 of 6 from the field, 10 points, has 5 rebounds. Switch Young at the line.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zales. 'Tis the season to save and sparkle more than ever.
Trae Young hits both after the 8th team foul of the half against Northwestern. So Oklahoma is a perfect 10 of 10 from the line here in the first half, with Young hitting 5 of those.
Everybody's giving him good minutes. Freeman has given him good minutes. Odoms has given him good minutes. Everybody looks so comfortable for Oklahoma. And that's because I swear it's because Trae Young makes him that way. It's because he has no ego with this. He tries to play both ends. Right there, he tried to fight through a screen, and Parton fouled him.
So he's already hit 22 points. So that's 10 straight 20-point games for Young. First Sooner to do that since Stacey King had 11 20-point games in a row back in the 88-89 season.
I asked you before the game, you think he'll get 50 in a game? I didn't think it'd be this game. It certainly could be.
Well, I think it's a pretty safe bet at some
what
point.
A pass right there.
And Benson able to play defense and knock that away from Pola. The 3 ball is there for Brian McIntosh. Got one to go down. He had struggled. Had missed his first 4.
Well, he's 2 for 10. And Brian McIntosh has had really good looks.
Young stripped. Benson up ahead for Ash. Nice pass, but Falzone has to spin into a double team. Still could not kiss it in off the glass.
No, Ash just needed to jump up and go lay that in. He put Falzone in a tough spot.
James left open. Christian James. 5 threes in 6 tries here in the first half.
Yeah, and all from the left corner. Just stand in the left corner, Trae Young will find you. I'll sign up for that job.
10 assists for Trae Young. Falzone called for the carry.
This is a great pass. This is a great find. They did a good job of trapping him. You see, bigs are out there, guards are out there, and he just whips it around. Now, it took a month and a half for Pola to get the ball to the rim. And Benson was able to recover, but, you know, that kills you. We're trying to give him 23 assists today. You got to go lay that in and get the kid another assist. There's a walk.
And that turnover. 7th of the half for Oklahoma.
Can you imagine, we were talking about this off air, can you imagine if the kid, Trae Young, went to Kansas?
Which was
from Norman.
It came down to KU and Oklahoma. Chatted with Trae Young today. He said initially, early in his recruitment, he thought he was going to go to Kentucky. Nice kiss off the glass from Isaiah Brown. Is a little slow getting up to get some help and a chance for a 3-point play. So Young told us today, he said, you know, I loved Coach Cal. Thought I was going to go to Kentucky, but wasn't ready to commit at that point. Then they went another way point guard-wise. So Trae Young went a different direction. That considered Oklahoma State, of course, hometown OU, and Kansas. Came down to KU and Oklahoma.
Could you imagine if you're Lon Kruger and he's from Norman and he went to OK State?
Or Kansas.
Yeah, both would be miserable for you, at least for a year, right? I mean, I would assume that Look, I'll be honest. If I'm an NBA team and I got the #1 pick, I got to look at this kid.
And right on cue, in the final seconds of this first half, hits his 6-3.
Got it.
25 points, 10 assists in the first half for Trae Young, and a 30-point lead for the Sooners at the break.
Well, he did it all. He made his own clothes, taught Arthur Murray dancing. He's a whiz in the kitchen. I mean, what more can a kid do? I mean, he's got everybody involved. He's running a break. I think he's played pretty good defense, except the one time he got caught in the post. This kid is the face of college basketball.
To the studio, Kevin, Dallin, and Chris. We are moments away from starting the second half in Norman. A 30-point lead for 17th-ranked Oklahoma. In that first half, Dan, Christian James had 19 points, hit 5 threes, and guess what?
He ain't the story.
He's not.
It's the best half of offensive basketball I've seen in my life. I mean, it really is. Think about this. 22 of 32. So they took 32 shots, missed 10. 14 of 20 from the three-point line. 14 of 20. 10 of 10 from the free throw line. And they scored 68 points. And really, after the steal, had a chance to make it 71. I've never seen a better half of basketball than what Oklahoma just did there offensively. And that kid right there, Trae Young, is the best player I have seen in college basketball this year. There's a lot of good players, but I'm not sure you can find one better than this guy. He's unbelievable.
25 points so far tonight on 7 of 10 shooting, has hit 6 of 8 threes, hasn't missed from the free throw line, already 10 assists.
I mean, you mentioned Christian James. He's got 19.
Yeah, he had a great half, but was completely overshadowed by the first half of Trae Young. So
I wonder how many players in the country have had 19 points and a half. I mean, there's a number, but it doesn't happen that often, right? Like 19 points and a half is a hell of a half.
Absolutely. It's a great half for Christian James. Oklahoma ball to start half number 2. Latin to catch and shoot. Add to the assist total for Trae Young. That's his 11th. And for Latin, his first field goal of the game.
That's his first shot.
Yeah. Dean Latin has been a starter on this team the last couple of years. And the way the makeup of the team has evolved, really looked at more for his rebounding and shot blocking. There's a nice shot from Scotty Lindsey.
Listen, Northwestern is not a bad basketball team. In fact, Northwestern started the year a little rough. I think they missed Sanjay Lumpkin pretty much. I mean, he was a veteran guy that scored a lot of points, but they're made to look sick in this game. I mean, they're very well coached. They played in the NCAA tournament last year. They're going to win 20 games this year. And Chris Collins has upped the level of Northwestern basketball and upped the expectations and upped the talent level. But, Mark, they look like, a bad mid-major playing against today's Oklahoma team.
Free throws make it a 72-40 game. Well, Northwestern thumped by Texas Tech 85-49 early in the year. And Coach Collins told me today, he said, hey, that was the game where our team woke up because he thought his team kind of read the press clippings too much from the trip to the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history last year. And that he really thought they needed that kick in the pants.
The one thing about basketball players that have success is they don't remember how hard they worked in September, October, November. You know what they remember? The NCAA tournament. The first time ever. The big, party they had when their name was selected. They don't remember diving on the floor. They don't remember grinding out non-conference games. I really believe, and I've talked to their staff about this, that affected Northwestern until really that game against Texas Tech. And I thought they were a completely different team when they went into West Lafayette and played Purdue.
Yeah, that's the thing with Northwestern. They've already played 2 conference games, competitive but lost to Purdue, beat Illinois in overtime. They're going to get back to conference play against Nebraska on January 2nd. Oklahoma, meanwhile, their next game will be their conference opener in the Big 12, and it's a good game against TCU in Fort Worth.
TCU's undefeated. Jamie Dixon coming over from Pittsburgh has been the story, or the untold story of the year. Now, look, I still believe Big 10 title or Big 12 title goes through Kansas until further notice. I mean, you're talking about 13 in a row. But Jamie Dixon's TCU team, this team out here, I certainly think will be right there in the last week or two battling for it.
Interesting connection between the two head coaches, Chris Collins and Lon Kruger. Lon Kruger told me today that he recruited Chris Collins when Collins was at high school. He was trying to get him to come to Florida when Lon was in Gainesville. Of course, Chris Collins went to Duke. And then when Florida made the Final Four, who'd they play? Chris Collins and Duke.
And that was a team that Chris Collins was a veteran on with Grant Hill. And Chris Collins was a highly recruited kid out of Glenbrook. And his dad, obviously, Doug Collins. But Chris was an overachiever as a player and hired a great staff. And as I said, Northwestern basketball, the expectations they've never even had expectations. They've had hope, like I hope we could win a game or two. Now they have expectations, and they're going to have to come out of this game and figure out, okay, here's another Texas Tech type of loss. What are we going to do about it? Where are we at as a crew? Because they're getting smacked.
That was the fourth foul on Lindsey. He's in foul trouble for the Wildcats. Brown pulls up from the free throw line, drops that one in.
Yeah, good for Brown. He's going right at Trae Young. That's one thing you have to do as well against Trae Young. You got to keep him on the side. He's going wherever he wants. That's bad business. And you've got to make him work defensively.
How about that combination of two freshmen? We haven't talked a lot about Brady Manick, two freshmen out of Hera, Oklahoma. And he's been overshadowed. He's having a really nice true freshman year.
He's exactly what you want in a player. 6'9", long arm, athletic, and shoots absolutely when he shoots it, you think he's going to make. You know, there are different kinds of shooters. One, you're surprised when they miss. Two, you know they're going to make. Like, you're surprised if he misses. And the third kind is you just don't let him shoot. They go screen. But this kid, Trae Young, when he shoots it, you're shocked when it doesn't go in.
And if anybody had questions about whether he could shoot an NBA three, that one right there was 15 feet beyond the college three-point line.
If there's the only question with Trae Young is can he guard? But who cares? Go get 40.
Gave it away. Skelly lays it in.
Yeah, rule of thumb, don't ever save the ball back under your own basket. Kadeem Latin violated. Skelly got it, knocked it in. I want to shoot again.
Well, took a little bump from McIntosh, and then his pass looking for Odoms underneath the bucket goes out of bounds.
See, that's what you got to do. Look, this is pretty good. Manick is going to be pressured on this shot. Just a little left-handed scoop across the body pass made it look easy. It's not, and then this. Well, this is easy. When you practice as hard as he does, that's pretty easy for him, not for anybody else.
McIntosh getting that three to fall. He missed his first four of those actually. He's hit the last two.
No, he's a gym rat. He's a guy that plays all the time, works all the time. He's the best guard in Northwestern history. And the start that he got off to is not typical of him at all, not even a little.
The push on James. It's going to go against Ash. Talk about McIntosh. Of course, they make the NCAA tournament last year for the first time. Beat Vandy by 2 for their first NCAA tournament win. McIntosh has a game-high 25 points. Had the game-winning free throws near the end of regulation, and they won an NCAA tournament game.
And that's what I'm saying. This team is no joke. Like, they have Scotty Lindsey is back. Skelly is back. McIntosh, the best player last year, is back. Parton, who came on, is back. I mean, they have a really good basketball team. But sometimes you just run into a team that not only is better than you, plays harder than you, which I think they've done tonight, and has a star player who's just losing his mind again.
9th turnover committed by Oklahoma. This, by the way, is the first of a home and home, so Oklahoma will go to Evanston next year.
You know, it's too bad for Evanston and Northwestern that you're not going to see Trae Young there next year. That'd be a lot of fun, right?
Here's Brown. Lost it for a moment, then trying to pass back to Skelly, but threw it right to Manick. James pulls up. Tipped by Manick and one.
Larry Bird. That's who Manick is.
Got
Larry
the facial
Bird.
features.
Yeah, he does. Little tip in right hand, hold the guy off. Nice.
presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Zale. 'Tis the season to save and sparkle more than ever.
Welcome back to ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by Zales. From the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman, Oklahoma, 80-49 OU. Trae Young, 28 points, a dozen assists in his 21 minutes played. Brady Bannock at the line, freshman, completes the three-point play.
He has 10 in 11 in 16 minutes. He is an efficient guy, and you know what he does? Bannock never really changes expression. He just plays both ends, plays hard. Obviously very efficient. Now he's going to have to guard Pardon. That is a bad call.
Going against Bannock.
Then it might be a good call, because if they called that against Latin from behind, I thought that was a bad call, but maybe Bannock got him in front.
You see Bannock, he's got a little facial hair going, and after the shoot-around today, one of his teammates giving him some good-natured grief, asked him about, what do you call that facial hair? And he said, what do you mean? And he said, I call it 19 and a half years of growth. He has never shaved above his lip where the mustache is. The razor has never been there.
Got that Larry Bird, 1979. Sycamores.
They're going to call that on foul zone.
You know, I would be a bad ref. It's a 32-point game. Guy shooting a free throw, steps over the line. I'd be like, I don't care. Hope you make it, kid. Then I get fired.
Well, here's Young, catch and shoot three. Off the front rim, right back to him from Latin.
I'm telling you, you're surprised when he misses. How good was that by Latin? When Latin got the rebound, he knew exactly where Young was, and Young didn't sulk. He just stayed with it and drilled it.
Young has hit 8 of 11 three-point attempts. That's 17 made threes by Oklahoma in this game. Most they've hit in a game this season. 15 had been the previous high. And that turnover, number 12 for Northwestern.
Well, if you're Northwestern, you want to get out of here. You know, if you could, you would go over and ask, can we just play running clock here? Like people say, well, we want to get this out of the game. No, you just want to leave. That's all you want to do. You don't, last 15 minutes, get something out of this game. No, you just want to go home. Start Christmas, forget about it.
High arcing shot, but Latin there to pull it out of the air and lay it in. Well, the day didn't start well for Northwestern when they realized Vic Law was going to be unavailable, not clearing the concussion protocol. Who was going to be the primary defender against Trae Young tonight. And their best defender. Baby Hook rolls around and won't fall for gains.
Now you got to call carry there. You had to call carry there. If you're going to call carry early in the game, you can't do anything but call that a carry.
Well, the annual NBA on Christmas Day tradition continues. 4 of the best gifts anyone could ask for. Noon Eastern, Sixers, Knicks. Then at 3 Eastern, noon on ABC. That's noon Pacific. An NBA Finals rematch between the Cavs and Warriors at 5:30. Wizards square off against the Celtics. And in the finale, Rockets taking on the Thunder. Just up the road in Oklahoma City. All 4 games also available on the ESPN app. So the NBA tweets about Trae Young after that NCAA tying record for 22 assists.
I agree with what Chauncey Billups said right there. He is must-see TV. When he's on TV, you just have to watch. I mean, something good, something fun, something incredible is going to happen. Now, as I said earlier, it will be interesting when he goes on, hostile plays. Maybe things don't go well for him early. People body him up a little bit. But I have a feeling he'll be just fine.
Harden had a very nice first half. Loose ball, and Young's able to get it back. Just turns, fires. I mean, you were looking at that directly on from your angle right there. I mean, and that was just turn around and let it fly. And that's going to be a charge taken
that would be the first shot that if I were a teammate, I'd look at him a little sideways, guys. Like, I get it, but
it was the first one of the night where you really looked like, boy, if you make that one, you're walking on water.
Yeah, I'm for you. I'm for you taking that's Pistol Pete Maravich back in the day, but that one was the first one where you went, all right. The other thing that is going to be interesting is how they play without him. Shepard is a very good point guard. Freeman has given him good minutes. But playing without him in a hostile environment on the road, and Kansas, in the Big 12, Kansas has proven it really doesn't matter. As long as the uniform says Kansas, you're going to be fine in the Big 12. 13 in a row, what the heck. But this is a year where you look at TCU, you look at these guys here, and you say, all right, end of the year, last week, who's going to be playing for it?
McNeese reverses. Pulled down by Benson.
That was a heck of a move by McNeese. I thought he was just going to lay it in. He went for the dunk.
Lindsey playing with 4 fouls. Batted out of bounds. Last touch by Gaines. Actually, they're going to say that's off the Ty Lazenby. It's still belonging to the Wildcats. Young on the bench with 31 points. Foul zone.
Yeah, he didn't miss spot on. Hey, coaches out there, if you're DVRing this game or DB, whatever you call it, that inbounds play right there by Northwestern was great. Like, they ran that 2 or 3 times. That is a great play to clip and get it down and use with your own team.
Ash finishes after getting the steal at one end and jams at the other. Jordan Ash picked up the start tonight in lieu of Vic Law out. McNeese that time barreled into Benson, and that's going the other way. Northwestern ball when we come back to Norman.
When we come back, I have an apology to make.
Okay. Kevin. I'm right there with you. And I didn't ask him during the break what he's going to apologize about, so it's going to be news to me. But first, let me tell you about Trae Young. With this performance tonight, 31 points, a dozen assists in his 24 minutes. That's now 4 games for him, 25-10. And before January 1st, last 20 seasons, he's passed Steph Curry in those numbers. All right, Dan Dockich, what do you
I've got to apologize to the great Billy McKinney. A friend of mine, David Israel, just sent me a note saying Billy McKinney's the greatest guard in the history of Northwestern, and he is. There's no question about it. NBA player, NBA executive. My apologies to the entire McKinney family. Billy McKinney is the best guard in Northwestern history, and I apologize for that slip because he's right. Left-handed.
But Brian McIntosh is at least in that conversation.
No question he is. That's him. He doesn't miss that shot. Oh, jeez. That's his shot.
Malzone 6 points tonight. Misses a 3. Had hit his first 2.
The tension builds. Are we going to see Charlie Hall?
A lob to McNeese from Shepard. You're mentioning Charlie Hall, the junior out of Los Angeles, son of Brad Hall and Julie Louis-Dreyfus, who are both Northwestern alums.
Yeah, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus battling cancer. She was very public about it, so our thoughts are with her as well. John, he doesn't miss. The miss that he had last time was a fluke. Fell zone from the top of the key is as money as anything you're going to see. Festivus is tomorrow.
December 23rd, and only true Seinfeld fans would remember that without having to Google it. McNeese.
A lot of issues with you people. That's the first thing you got to say if you're Chris Collins. As soon as you get on the bus.
It's Festivus on the bus to the airport for the charter, huh?
You got to get the pole out. Wrestle your father. Shoot it again.
Like to, but gives it up to Lindsey.
Charlie Hall had a great tweet. He scored his first point as a walk-on.
There's the layup by Benson. Let's go back to that tweet from Charlie Hall.
There he is.
Compared himself good-naturedly to Wilt's 100-point game. That's awesome.
I told him before the game, he came over and shook my hand. I said, that's the greatest tweet ever. He was laughing. That's pretty good.
When his parents who they are, you better at least inherit a good sense of humor, and he has, apparently.
My niece is a volleyball player at Northwestern and says he is one of the all-time good guys. Everybody on campus really likes Charlie Hall. Hope he gets in. Hope he does something good.
Vincent. Some confusion here. He thought that was just the tail end of trying to complete a three-point play, but is that going to be on the Festivus list?
I don't know. There's a lot of grievances that Chris Collins can unload on.
McNeese. He's fouled by Benson. McNeese is a guy, the Oklahoma staff tells athleticism, this guy's off the chart.
Well, when he went baseline a few minutes ago and he was going to lay it in, then all of a sudden out of nowhere he dunked. This is a kid that has as much talent as anyone. Not necessarily as much skill as anyone, but look at the body on him. He plays with his head up. He plays with a smile. This kid's going to be a huge factor as Oklahoma goes through the rest of the season to start the new year.
Short with the free throw, but kept by Oklahoma. Lazenby. McGusty's three.
Really good pass. McGusty usually makes that shot. Now, if you're Northwestern, just get a good shot.
Ash gave a look to Lindsey, who cut to the basket. Now he feeds the post. Barrett Benson shooting over McNeese, and nicely done. Drops that in.
Now, post guys between Pardon and Benson, they haven't been terrible in this game. Defensively, not great. But when the ball's gone down there, they've had a couple turnovers, but it's been pretty good.
Shepard unable to finish going to the rack. And now Gaines slipped a little bit, but able to keep his balance. Flipped up with the left hand by Lindsey. Benson partially blocked there by McNeese. Benson gets it back and will play it back out. Ash directing traffic.
This is just a bad-looking offensive set right now. It's just going to end up some kind of forced shot, I would assume.
Ash got Lazenby up in the air, and with 2 on the shot clock, the foul on the Sooners. So they get bailed out, but that was a possession worthy of a Festivus champ.
I mean, at some point, you know, college basketball guys are so good dribbling that sometimes you just put your head down and go to the basket and good things work out for you, particularly if you stay low and shot fake. Tell you what I'm looking forward to. That's Sunday, ESPN, ABC, NBA tradition is a day unlike any other. Eat, sit, watch. Eat, sit, watch. Next thing you know, it's like 2 in the morning and you're 75 pounds heavier, but you watched some great hoops and had a wonderful day.
Become a nice tradition, it sounds like, in the Dockage household.
Yeah, that we put on Pulp Fiction in the middle of it. It's a real holiday.
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Sure, that's a movie folks always think about at a holiday time.
They do. It's a great way to just kind of sit there and veg out.
Latin. Skelly had a chance, but it's picked up by Jordan Ash. Ash on the move. Nice pass. Skelly. He'll hit to the line. Under 8 minutes to play in Norman. 92-62 OU. Looking forward to that, Kevin. We are happy that Trae Young's come back into the game because our conversation went way off the rails when Dan Dockich mentioned Pulp Fiction as one of his favorite holiday movies.
Just on Christmas Day. Little Pulp Fiction. Eat about 3 cheese balls.
Hey, Northwestern has outscored Oklahoma 26-24 in this second half. That's a little silver lining here, but that may be reaching.
It's a stretch.
Yeah. Trae Young back in. 31 points. Does an assist.
Well, I'll say this for Northwestern. They've covered the corner 3 better.
Yeah, from Christian James.
Yes.
That left corner, yeah. That's a 2. Lindsey's been playing with 4 fouls for much of the second half. The lefty Pardon lets it fly. Swish.
You know, he is so improved. Like, Alex Ola was their center last year, and he got hurt, and they had nobody else. So they brought in Pardon, and he played so well. And against Michigan, length of the court, they threw it to him. He laid it in and put Northwestern in the NCAA tournament.
Probably the biggest individual play in Northwestern basketball history.
I don't think there's any doubt. Yeah, I don't think you can talk about a big win. They've had big wins over the years, Northwestern has. They've had rush the court moments.
Because that's the one that you knew, okay, they're going to get in the NCAA tournament for the first time.
There was no sweating it after that.
And their schedule was really tough at that point. There were no gimmies. There's a jam from Kadeem Latin.
Now that'll make you mad as a coach. That just shouldn't happen. Kadeem Latin can't shoot from outside, and all of a sudden you run out there, get back screen, and he's dunking. That'll make you put back things you never stole.
Eight points for Latin. A perfect 3 of 3 from the field and knocked down a couple of free throws. James at the hip on it, picks up the personal foul. Christian James, 19 points in the first half, has yet to score here in half number 2.
Yeah, like I said, they covered the corner of 3. I mean, he just parked in the left-hand corner in the first half and just started drilling shots. I mean, his job's pretty simple.
James shaking his head now. He picked up 2 quickies right there. Picks up another one.
I have looked over at the bench of Oklahoma, right there. And honest to goodness, the man sitting to Lon Kruger's right is his son. And from our angle, it is a spitting image.
Of a younger Lon Kruger.
Yeah, young. I looked over there, and I remember Lon Kruger going back to when he was at Illinois and all that, coaching against him. And I look over there, and I swear, and then I look, oh, okay, it's his son. His son's going to be a heck of a coach. He's a great basketball mind.
That's Kevin Kruger. He's in his second season on the staff.
And Lon is so appreciative of Kevin being on the staff. Kevin went over and played for Lon at UNLV. And then they come here, but yeah, when you look at it like that, they don't look alike. But when you look at it from our angle, I swear.
Still see some resemblance there. No, I know exactly what you're saying. There's a heavy resemblance.
Oh my gosh, it's like Richard Pitino reminds me of Rick Pitino. Like it's a spitting. It's like wow. Lon Kruger's the first guy I saw against us in college basketball that fouled all the time down 3. You know how there's that debate about do you foul?
When do you foul?
Yeah, and I remember the first time he did it was in Assembly Hall with Illinois, and it just deflated the entire place.
Young thinking about that shot from there. Let's see if Latin can stay hot. He can't, and the rebound for Young is second of the game, but then he is fouled. Young, a perfect 5 of 5 from the line tonight. Had a really nice chat with Trae Young after the shoot around today. And
you doing?
Missed his first free throw of the game. A chat with Trae Young. I asked him about the players that he saw growing up. There's a three off the mark from Ash. I said, who are the players that you really identified with? He said, early, Allen Iverson was one. But he said, you know who my guy is? Who's my favorite and still my favorite is Steve Nash.
Steve Nash changed the way point guards were viewed. You know, Isaiah Thomas, great winner. You can make the argument, best little point guard. The original Isaiah Thomas, not this one. But Magic Johnson changed the way point guards are viewed. And then Steve Nash came to dribble underneath the basket. No point guards dribbled underneath the basket and found their way out until Steve Nash. And then the little guy all of a sudden becomes a two-time All-American, or excuse me, two-time MVP. It just, I can see why a kid would feel that way in Trae Young, because he changed the way you went about your business. And Steph Curry has now changed it even more to a scoring, shooting deep, you know, electric kind of one-handed. And that kid is the spitting image, I think, of Steph Curry.
I asked him about his first name, Trae, T-R-A-E, and that's just something he just made up, because he is actually Rayford Young the third. Trae for being the third. And I said, how many family members or anybody calls you Rayford? And he said, you know, maybe my mom, when I'm in some serious trouble, will call me Rayford. You were mentioning Steph Curry. Just look at some of the comparisons, freshman-wise.
Yeah, that's a pretty good comparison. Steph Curry looks like he's 5 years old right there.
Look at the assist, though. That's the big discrepancy. And again, that's Steph Curry's full season numbers from his freshman year. And this is Trae Young playing in his 14th collegiate game tonight.
You know, it's funny. His dad, Rayford, was a good player at Texas Tech. His roommate was a guy named Stan Bonowitz, who was his backcourt mate, who's now a high school coach in Texas. And you look at Trae Young. I remember that group. I remember those kids playing. And Stan Bonowitz was a heck of a shooter. You can make the case that Trae Young is a combination of his dad and Bonowitz. He shoots it. His dad was a really good assist guy.
Harden backs him down low and lays it in. 17 points for Derek Harden.
Well, actually, his dad was a really good scorer. Bonowitz was, now I think about it, Bonowitz was a good passer, shooter, straight shooter kind of guy.
Of course, the family, Trae is the oldest of the family. Followed around his dad in his pro days, which sent them to Portugal early in Trae's life. Ages 2 and 3, he lived in the country of Portugal. There's a McGusty jumper, and he is fouled. Trae said he actually broke his left leg at the age of 3 when they were living in Portugal, playing around and joking around with his dad.
Yeah, was jumping out of bed or something.
Yeah, and broke his leg.
What kid hasn't broken a bone jumping on a bed in Portugal?
Probably the same number of people who watch Pulp Fiction on Christmas Day, not me.
You know, but what kid hasn't gone into a room and immediately jumped on a bed?
Yeah.
You know, that is something that all kids do.
Well, he's come down to earth a little bit here in the second half, but he did not disappoint at all right out of the gate tonight.
No. It's the best half of basketball that I have ever witnessed offensively. Now, I'm not going to say defensively it was the best. I mean, there's always good defensive halves, but when you look at what they did in the first half, 22 of 32, 14 of 20, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, 68 points. I mean, what more do you, 16 assists, 7 turnovers. I just never saw anybody play basketball that well for a half offensively.
Fourth game of 30-plus points this year for Young, who has 31. 96-69 Oklahoma.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball.
From the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman, Oklahoma and Northwestern tonight, and another big night for true freshman Trae Young.
Well, he's been the player of the year in college basketball. Although I'll give Marvin Bagley III, has certainly been the most dynamic player in the country, and maybe the most dynamic player we've seen in a number of years. The kid shoots it, the kid leads, the kid tries, the kid's a great teammate. I don't know what else you want out of a player who's 10 games into his college career, but man, this is the second time I've seen him in person during their games, and he's just absolutely the most fun kid to watch in college basketball.
On the bench right now with those numbers that you just saw, 31 points, a dozen assists in 27 minutes. Skelly hit a 2-point field goal coming out of the break, and now at the line is Cameron McGusty. Oklahoma led by as many as 39 in this game.
You know, what's going to be interesting going back to the Big 12, Mark, I had a conversation with Bob Huggins, the West Virginia coach, and they've changed the rules on how you can trap. You know, they like to pick up, they play fat, they trap people, and it's going to be really interesting when they play Oklahoma, the trapping that Huggins puts in and how aggressive they can be. Because watching Trae Young, he is very well schooled at getting the ball, getting it low, pass faking, and playing through traps. It's going to be that's going to be a really interesting game for Young, because I guarantee you Huggins has his guys ready to trap him everywhere.
That is game 3 of the conference season for OU. They start out at TCU. There's a 3 foul zone. Then they're home against Oklahoma State, and then at West Virginia on January 6th are the Sooners.
Yeah, and Huggins' point is, look, they're talking about you can't kind of trap the leg on people. You have to give more room this year, or they're going to call fouls, so it's a point of emphasis. So, again, that's a game that could be a problem for Oklahoma, or that's a game that Trae Young could go shoot 20 to 30 free throws in.
Offensive foul against Pola for Oklahoma, so Northwestern ball with just over 3 minutes to play. Northwestern's going to drop to 9-5. They will play Brown a week from Saturday, and then back into conference play against Nebraska on January 2nd. There's a 3 from foul zone into the hands of Pola. Oklahoma trying to hit the century mark for the 4th time this year.
Thinking it might be Charlie Hall and Tino Melnati time here.
Moving screen on Pola, so that's second offensive foul against him the last 2 trips for the native of Finland.
Rooting for Melnati to get in the game so we can talk nice about him. I think he's a grandson of Lou Melnati, who basically is the pizza king
guy,
of Chicago. I mean, we want to get a little free stuff maybe by talking nice about the family. Lou Melnati's is my go-to when a guy comes on my radio show and I want to thank him. I send Krzyzewski, Coach K was on the other day. I know he likes little Lou Melnati's.
Screen set by Benson. That's a 3 from Ash. As the shot clock was expiring, out of bounds. So be sure to join Stan and Max for Sports Center after Lakers Warriors on ESPN. They'll have a complete post-game wrap and interviews with Steph and KD. Plus, the Rockets try to start a new win streak against the Clippers. And how did Wyoming quarterback Josh Allen fare in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl? All that and everything else. Sports Center from LA, 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Well, I can answer that about Josh Allen. Josh Allen looked great in the first quarter. It's like 21 points in the first quarter. Hey, how about CP3 not playing against the Clippers? What's that?
Yeah. What's that about?
No.
Sooners.
I'd have to be dead not to play in that game if I was him.
Sooners have hit the century mark for the 4th time this year. How about this, Dan? This is the first time Northwestern has allowed 100-plus points since they gave up 105 at Minnesota, January of 1995.
That was a bad Northwestern team, too. That was a 1-17 crew with 5 total wins. Look, you don't want to be lumped in with those kind of teams, right? Anything you can do not to be lumped in with, what is it, the 95 Northwestern crew? No. No, God, no. Like, this is a special group of Northwestern kids. This is a group that did something that hadn't been done before. Don't regress.
How about the win totals for Chris Collins in 5 seasons? From 14 to 15 to 20 to a school record 24 last year. Had their first winning record in Big Ten play, went 10-8, and finished tied for 5th.
Look, He has raised the level of Northwestern basketball in every area. They've always been good academics and all that kind of stuff, so you're not raising it there. But in terms of the players that they're getting, the recruiting they're doing in Chicago, the level of play, except for tonight, he's raised everything. Like 20 wins is the norm with this guy. He is not a good basketball coach. He is a great basketball coach. And tonight, hey, you ran into, like I said, the best offensive performance I have ever seen in college basketball in the first half.
Oklahoma hit 14 threes in the first half. They've hit only 3 here in the second half, but that's still the most three-point field goals. Ties the OU record for most threes made in a game. Well, 'tis the season for bowl games. We got 3 more for you tomorrow on ESPN noon Eastern. Texas Tech takes on South Florida in the Birmingham Bowl. Then 3:30, San Diego State squaring off against Army in the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Then 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, App State taking on Toledo. All those games available as well on the ESPN app.
Now that I said that, now that I open up that can of worms, Sean McDonough sent me a text saying, hey, I come on your radio show. Where's my Malnati's? I know. Sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut.
That may be a first from Dan Dakich right there. Well, Oklahoma scored the game's first 7 points and never looked back. They're going to improve to 10-1, 6-0 at home this year. And they will be off until their conference opener at TCU a week from tomorrow.
That'll be the game of the year, or the game of the night that night, because that is a fantastic 11-0 TCU.
That'll be a 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 Central afternoon start from Fort Worth on ESPN2 next Saturday the 30th.
You know, good for Jamie Dixon. Jamie Dixon, you know, he had kind of run its course at Pittsburgh. I did an NIT game there, and you could feel that Jamie had lost momentum. So he does the Larry Brown thing. He gets out ahead. And next thing you know, he has shown again that he is one of the elite coaches in college basketball and has TCU, a program that has been down, I don't know,
a long time.
Forever?
And he's back at his alma mater.
Yeah.
There's obviously that aspect of it as well.
They got better weather
than Pittsburgh, Fort Worth in the winter, yeah.
I'm a big Pittsburgh fan, but Fort Worth's pretty nice.
Well, you've been talking about it for a while now, but Northwestern's 39 seconds away from being able to head to the charter and get out of here tonight.
Just get out, yell and scream, let everybody go home, take it out against Brown in a week, and then you got a big one to start, well, not to start, but to continue the Big Ten season against Nebraska, which is a big one. You can't, you know, if you're trying to battle and get in the NCAA tournament, it's a game you got to win if you're Northwestern.
Texas and Alabama from Birmingham coming up here shortly. There's a whistle. Are you going to count it? The OU bench wanted them to count that, but
I'd be a bad ref. Are you calling that one good, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too.
That's Patrick Gia, who's one of the walk-ons who's in the game. In his first year in the program, a Kansas City kid out of Leawood, Kansas, went to Rockhurst High School on the Missouri side.
Well, there is good news for Northwestern. Their managers last night
beat the OU manager.
Yes,
you know, that's the
did.
big thing in college basketball now. The managers the night before the game compete.
Yeah. 1 by 1. Started slow. And according to David Jacobs, and next thing you know, they came on late. I'm disappointed in Purdue. Purdue's managers wouldn't play Northwestern. Let's clean that up.
Out of bounds to Oklahoma with just 9 seconds left. Again, stick around for Texas and Alabama from Legacy Arena in Birmingham with Rich Hollenberg and Seth Greenberg. And we'll visit with Trey Young when we get the chance after this 104-78 victory for Oklahoma. That's going to take care of things from Norman. For Dan Dakich and our entire crew, I'm Mark Neely. Thanks for sharing this one with us. We're going to send you to the studio first with Kevin Connors, Dallin Cuff, Chris Patola. So long for now from Norman.